Searching for those who are left. This day, better run, 'cause no other way. Destiny with a gun and a blade. All we need is a fit to survive. Time to fight to stay alive. And now we scour this barren land. There's no one left. This day. then the sun rises. stand, not fair. Wear this burden on you. I disappear, not there. The day I remember, the day that I'm not there. Believe in me, I won't let you down and wear my crown. Believe in me, I will let you down, but turn around one day. One day, one day. Darkness is upon you. And the thoughts towards the light. In the distance, I'm calling for you. A chance in a new life. The day now remember, the day, but I'm not there. this shit. Oh, burn! Put the case on the bed, and you're gonna be dead. Gonna see how badly I lose. Nightmare eaters in my mind. Will I wake before I die? Nightmare eaters in my head. Will I wake before I'm dead? Before I'm dead. Before I'm dead. Hear the noising of the black. Hear the sounding of the black. Hear the sounding of the black. Hear the noising of the black. Hear the sounding of the black. Hear the sounding of the black. Spurn from God's mercy, all shall worship beauty. Never reason to hate, and he came deep, deep from ocean, but she turned him away. Turn to stone for your love. Turn to stone for your love, and they worship her there. Now the hunters beware. Snakes of vengeance with sight, and she ran to beg for mercy, but they pushed her away. Turn to stone Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between the Notes with Motif Mag. My name is Jack Downey, and I am the interviewer tonight. With me are 3 Points of Madness, a local metal band who just put on an absolutely fantastic performance. Some really great songs in the mix. And so I just want to start out by asking you guys, where are you from? Where are you? Actually, a better question to start with, who are you guys? What are your names?
I'm George.
Ron.
Sean.
I live out in Newport, Rhode Island.
I live in Rehoboth, Massachusetts.
I'm up in Marlborough, Mass.
Oh, cool. I'm from Massachusetts, too, actually. I'm from Hingham.
Yeah, we basically play all over New England now. We try to get up to Connecticut. We're trying to branch out a little further out of state. So we're trying to get everywhere.
I mean, hey, gotta respect it, right? I mean, but I know you guys just said where you were each individually from, but I noticed on your Instagram that you have a practice space called the Asylum. Where's that at?
That's in Rehoboth, Massachusetts at Ron's house. It's in his basement. So he's kind enough to, and his father's kind enough to put up with all our loud noise and stuff. So that's been our home base is Rehoboth, Massachusetts. So very cool.
And do you just have a drum kit stored there, or do you have to lug it back and forth every time?
Yeah, I have basically my hardware duplicated down there. So
Oh,
I
wow.
just
Okay.
and I have a duplicated cymbals there. So it's mostly just the drums that I bring back and forth.
That's a lot of hardware then.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's good that you don't have to bring it back and forth because, I mean, with all the drums on stage, I think that would be a lot of time.
Right.
I was going to ask you about that, actually. I was trying to count your cymbals during your performance. How many cymbals were you using?
I think there is 11.
That's crazy. That's unbelievable. I've never seen that many on one stage at one time, so props. And was that a 9-string bass that I saw?
Yes, and it's actually not the biggest one I have.
What's the biggest one that you have?
That's what he said.
The biggest one I have is an 11-string, and it goes 4 below a standard 4-string to a low G sharp, and I believe 3 above a standard 4. So I got middle C, high F, and high B flat.
And you use all those strings?
I do.
Wow. I respect it. I respect it. I
Thank
don't
you,
know if
man.
I play bass, but it's just a 4-string bass, and I don't know if I know what to do with 11. So
Came with a lot of practice. I played 6-string bass mainly for like 7 years before I even went to anything bigger. And then once I found out that Conklin Basses in Springfield, Missouri made a 7-string, I definitely was all about that and wanted to check it out. And then when I went to the website, I found that they had 9 strings, 8 strings, and all this big world I didn't know of. So I checked it out, and I was like, yeah, I want to see what this is all about, what the different artists are doing with them, and decided doing it myself and my own things.
we'll go big or go home, right?
Yeah,
You ever
right?
hear about Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam, where he has a 12-string bass, apparently?
I have one of those, actually, and I am a fan of his, actually. He's the one that inspired me to want to get one of those. So I got like a cheap knockoff Hamer 12-string.
We used to play Jeremy. So
Yep, of
Oh,
course.
cool. Okay.
And
that bass.
absolutely, that was definitely one of the first songs I learned on 12-string too, actually. And then I had Conklin make me a 15-string. So it's basically a 5-string with the double octave strings.
So, yeah, because I was going to ask how you would set something like that up. Is it strings on top of one another, or is it the neck is just really wide?
No, it's basically groups of 3. So 3 groups of 5, in this case, 5 groups of 3. So you have a regular root note strings, and then your double octave strings right next to them.
It's like
And
a 12 string,
you
real close
you
together.
pluck 3 strings as 1 string. So same approach as like you would have with a 12-string guitar.
Interesting.
Just with an extra string, yeah. So 3 strings each note instead of 2.
Yeah, well,
It's like
maybe.
guitar strings mixed with bass strings, actually, kind of.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes a little bit
Yeah,
more
they
sense.
put, they
'Cause,
put
yeah.
guitar strings on it to give it that real chime. It's an interesting instrument.
Well, maybe I'll get a chance to play one at some point, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They're all a lot of fun. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I was you were talking about going to Connecticut and all over New England. Where have you played? Where are some places that you've been to?
We were just up at the Main Street Tavern in Stratford, Mass. I'm sorry, Stratford, Connecticut. We played at the Cherry Street up there. You know, what we started doing is we started mixing. We're an original band, and we started mixing covers in with our set because we were just, you know, we're playing all these shows, not making any money. And, you know, Ron had a lot of friends in cover bands, so we started like mixing in covers, and then you know we started making money. So we were like, we'd play the covers, and then we'd throw in a few originals, and it really opened the door to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was just gonna say another key thing about doing that too was it got us to get our originals exposed to people that normally, or to a market that would have normally not heard them. So it was able to expand our market instead of just staying in just strictly original clubs. We were noticing that when we started mixing the covers with the originals and playing these gigs at these normally what would be cover bars, the fans that were there that liked our originals, then some of those actually started coming to the all original shows or coming to other shows that were mixed mixed style, if you will. So it's definitely opened up a lot of doors for us. It definitely paid well, but also gotten a lot of more exposure than if we were just sticking with just original clubs. So, but we do it all.
Well, that's good. It's good that you're able to adapt like that because a lot of people, I mean, myself included, a lot of people are very stuck on just doing just originals and like, oh, if I do covers, that's selling my soul. But I think sometimes you gotta
I
know
mean,
what people
a lot
want.
of my favorite bands, like look at even the Beatles, you know, started out with
Yeah.
oh, you know, a lot of Godsmack was Alice in Chains. What's the band that sounds like Zeppelin right now? They were a Zeppelin.
Oh, Greta
cover
Van
band.
Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet.
I assume.
They
I
were
mean,
a,
that's what
they
most
were a
people say.
Zeppelin cover band. I mean, I love playing originals, but it's such a struggle in the original scene, and now it's like out in California, you have the pay to play. You got bands that are literally paying $200 to play a show.
Really?
And what they do, you got to sell tickets, and you don't even make any money until you pay a promoter this money. So that's starting to move towards the East Coast, but thank God there's still some great clubs out there like Dusk. Rick, he's supported us over the years. We've been together 8 years now, I think, and he's always great. He's a staple of the scene. I've played here with a few other bands, you know. So luckily, Rhode Island has a lot of cool clubs left, you know, for original bands to play. So I grew up in Miami, and there was very few rock clubs down there. So people around here don't realize how many clubs there actually is, you know, to play around here. You got people out in the Midwest who have, you know, maybe one big club in their town. And a lot of those are pay to play. You got guys, you got to sell tickets, and they put a headliner on, and they use that money to pay the headliner and the promoter. And it's tough. It's a tough business. But, you know, we love playing music, so that's, you know, if we were doing it for the money, we wouldn't be doing it. So, but at least with the covers, we make a little bit of cash, so we can pay for our album and stuff. Speaking of, we are currently recording our 4th album, Reefer Madness, so we are cutting vocals for it right now. It's going to be coming out this year, so we're really excited. So we've got some really good stuff. Like every band says, we feel it's our best work yet, but so it's very exciting.
Well, you heard it here, folks. 3 Points of Madness is in the studio right now working on Reefer Madness, so stick around for that. Where can people find out more about upcoming releases? What social media platform is best?
We're obviously Facebook. We're on all the streaming stations, you know, Spotify and on Google, everything. So you can just Google us, and YouTube, of course. We have we usually record and videotape our shows, most of them. So we have a lot of stuff on our YouTube. So check out 3 Points of Madness on YouTube. You can catch a lot of live stuff on there, covers and originals, and you know, we just keep plugging. We've got our own website. It's www.3pointsofmadnessmusic.com. You can check out all our shows, and we've got some merch and stuff on there. We have a current album out, Circus of Madness, and Sean recorded with us, and also New World Order is up there if you guys want to stream it and check it out.
That's great. So, you know, I was thinking too, like 8 years for a local band is a very long time. Like not a lot of bands exist that long just because of various pressures from various for various reasons. So, I guess a couple questions surrounding that are how did the band form, and how has it stayed together for so long?
Originally, I formed the band. I played in a band called Hemlock for years. I played bass and sung, and after that, I left that group. I started 3 Points of Madness and needed a bass player, and Ron played in a band called Ogma, and he came and joined in.
Well, actually, we missed a band, Octopus Triangle. You and I.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Me forgot those years.
So many over
Yeah,
the
me and
years,
Ron have been playing together for a long time, like 12, 13 years. And we had a band called Octopus Triangle. We played for a while. And then that kind of fell apart. And the guys, you know, had careers and kids. And so me and Ron decided to carry on with 3 Points of Madness. And luckily we found Sean. This guy, he's been with us, I think this is his 8th year now.
It's like 6 years or something.
6 years you've been with?
Right.
And he's been our best drummer by far, totally dedicated. The studio is at his house. He's got a great studio in his basement, so that helps with recording. Very dedicated. We don't drink, you know, so there's not the drinking and the drug dramas. So I went through that years past, so that helps a lot. I know a lot of bands break up, you know, with the substances, and you know, it's hard work. It's a lot of work when you're driving, paying gas, all the hard work moving the equipment. But so you really got to love music to do it, which we do. So we have a blast, and you know, we're just now starting to reap some rewards from it after all the years of hard work. So it's slowly building.
Well, that's great that you're starting to see rewards after so much hard work, because some people just they call it a day, and if they had pushed on for even an extra year, maybe they would have seen some more results. That's what scares me. I'm a musician myself, and so I intend to keep doing it forever, you know. But it is sometimes I wonder, you know, like if I stop here, what if I'd kept going on this much farther? So it's pretty cool. I mean, and you said you've been doing music for like probably over 12 or 13 years at this point.
Yeah, I don't even want to say how old how long I've been doing music, but I've been playing in bands for 20 years, and I don't know about you guys, but
About the same.
about the same, yeah. So
I started in the scene. Well, sure, I even
we're old
myself,
men,
but-
so but we're still plugging at it, you know. You're never too old, you're never too young. That's one great thing about music. So, and I mean, music saved my life. It got me, you know, I quit drinking, quit doing the drugs, and it gave me something to look forward to. You know, you got to have a hobby or something in life that you love, you know. So it's really been a great tool for me, and I was lucky to find a couple great guys to play with.
No, for sure. That's tender moments on between the notes here. But I did want to ask too, what are the 3 Points of Madness? Where does your band name come from?
Well, I started it, you know, we always wanted to think of different symbolisms and different things, but I kind of just like the way it, you know, at first I was like, you know, government and money, big far, you know, there's so many things. So we couldn't decide on one topic, but, you know, it lets the listener, you know, put in whatever they think their points of madness are. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it was definitely, at first it was kind of a political statement. We were going to do like, you know, like a money symbol and maybe like a medical symbol. And like, you know, there's just so much stuff going on that we can use and do use as in certain songs. Like New World Order, there's a lot of, you know, kind of political, you know, commentary in some of the lyrics and stuff. But Circus of Madness. But, you know, I just thought it was a cool name. You know, there wasn't any specific. You know, I have thought in the past to lay out a couple. You know, our new album, Reefer Madness. We were thinking about doing 3 pyramids and maybe doing 3 different images in that. So maybe we can come up with 3 points of madness that we can share. So
Each album represents 3 different points of madness.
Hey, that's a
And
great
you know what's
idea.
funny? You said that is
We have 3
we
already.
started doing that with songs, like doing we did a song called Medusa's Stare, and now we have a song called Snakes and Medusa, and we were like, why don't we do 3 3 songs per subject and do
Okay.
it, so we started kind of doing that. So, and we're a 3-piece, obviously. So that was the other thing. So every time we think we want to get another member, we're like, it kind of fits the name really good. So,
Yeah, the 3 points, they're everywhere. Wherever you look, 3 points of madness. And I was talking to John. Ron. Wow. Sorry.
close.
I knew it had on in it. I'm so sorry. But I was talking to Ron, and he was talking about how important the song Nightmares was. So would you like to talk about the song Nightmares and what it means to you?
Actually, that's a song that was written when I was in high school with my best friend, David Orms. And David used to do all our album covers. And he got really sick from drinking and recently passed. So I wanted, when he was sick, I wanted to make sure what we would do is we would throw in the last album before Circus, we put one of his songs up there. It was basically songs from my first band that I played. I grew up in Miami with David. And his father took me in. I was on the streets as a teenager. And his dad's house was awesome. His dad ran a TV program at the Miami-Dade Correctional. And he basically, just gave some of the inmates their hope. And this guy collected old music and audio equipment. So living in his house, the whole place was just guitars and basses and just all these big cool Sun amps, Echoplex, all this cool stuff. So it was such a great place to be as a teenager. That's where I started playing music. And David, after we moved on, went on to do advertisement in New York City. He did like online stuff, like he did artwork for like the NFL, stuff like that, billboards. And he would always do our artwork. So he recently passed about a year ago, and right before he did, I said, Dave, I really want to do Nightmares. And all we had was like a verse and a chorus. So he actually wrote, that song was actually written, the lyrics by David. So that's kind of a dedication to Dave, basically, so that some of his music can kind of live on. So that's basically where Nightmares came about. So those, so it definitely means a lot to us. And to the band, he helped us out a lot. Yeah. He did some really cool artwork for us over the years. And we miss him a lot.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your friend. And did he get to hear the song?
He did. He actually,
that's good.
and yep, he got to hear it. He loved it, and I was just glad for that. So, and he's still with us. So he's with us with the music. So
that's good. No, it's definitely good that he got to hear the song that he helped create. I think that's definitely that must have given him a lot of happiness in that time. So that's a very nice story.
Thank you.
And I guess steering away from something as heavy as that. So I know you're wearing a King Crimson shirt.
Yep.
You're wearing a Metallica shirt. You're wearing a button-down shirt. But so I can assume that those are some of your influences. So who else would you say has influenced this band?
I guess you can
I've been talking too much.
Okay. As far as me personally, my main influence as far as bass guitar is concerned is Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. So I'm obviously, other than a Metallica fan, I'm an Iron Maiden fan. So I wanted to say I love metal, a lot of metal bands, but we don't have enough time to list them all. So if I just had to pick 2, it would be Maiden and Metallica as my major influences for sure.
I'm really interested in a lot of prog-related stuff, so like Dream Theater, Porcupine Tree, Tool, Metallica, of course. That was my big listen when I was growing up to that stuff.
That's cool.
My music is everywhere. My parents, growing up, listened to like Yes and The Doors, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So I started with that stuff, and then of course the metal, Anthrax, Metallica, Testament. My first concert, 15 years old, Queensryche and Metallica. We bought tickets the day of the show. We had no tickets. Skipped junior high school to go to the show, and the lady saw us, kids. They were like, "I'm going to treat these kids." She gave us third row seats on the floor.
Wow.
And somebody canceled their credit card ticket, so we managed. So that was my first experience at a show, and it was after that night, I was like, I know what I'm going to do forever. I'm going to play. It was like a religious experience. It really was. It was just so intense. So, but yeah, my music, I like everything. So, we'll crank out some EDM, some Metallica. all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty open. We're all pretty open-minded. I mean, I love it all. Metal, progressive rock, progressive metal, death metal, some black metal, even some country and western, believe it or not, more so the older stuff. Like, I'm the only one brave enough to say that, like from the 70s, the 90s, kind of stuff like that. But yeah, it's just so many different things. So it all gets in there in some way. Big jazz fusion fan as well, like Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report, and stuff like that. So that kind of influences in the bass playing and whatnot. Not that I could play like those guys, but I try, do my best. And still learning. We all are,
I mean,
that's
you got to
what it's
have
about.
something to strive for, right?
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
we keep growing every album too. I think we all each keep each other on our feet, and we always try to get the best out of each other. And I think that we are, and it's a great fit, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm looking really forward to continue to learn and to continue to do even better.
That's great. And what's funny about your Metallica story is that my first local show that I ever went to, like back in Massachusetts, was actually a battle of the bands, a metal battle of the bands at the Palladium in Worcester, because a fellow student of mine was playing bass for them, and I got invited along. So we took the trek out to Worcester, and that was the first local show I'd seen. And I thought it was pretty crazy, because it was a smaller venue, but it still held a lot of people. And that was my first time being in the mosh pit, actually. This was like sophomore year of high school, I think. And ever since then, I've just loved local shows. So I understand fully what you mean granted, Metallica is different than a local band, obviously, but, it's just, I understand what you mean when you see a concert and you're like, I want to be a part of this forever,
Yeah, I mean, even small local shows can have the same effect on you. I mean, music is music, so I've been to shows where I've felt that again. You just
guy right here, actually. About you.
I didn't do it.
No, just an example of how, because I think a lot of times, unfortunately, and I'm guilty of this too sometimes, original music, like when people see original bands on a bill, especially ones that they don't know, they tend to say, oh, I'm going to skip that band. I don't really know them. I'm going to go see so-and-so instead. And to be honest with you, there was a night just like that way back when, I don't remember, and it was a 4th of July night, and the living room was still around. Yes. Yeah. And at that time, I was in that band called Agma, which is a progressive metal band with Blake Competer, Kevin Williams, and Brock Papineau. And Blake got me off my butt that night to go out. He's like, oh, you want to go? I was like, well, there's a whole bunch of bands playing, and I really don't know any, the same kind of attitude, right? But you know what? There was nothing else to do. I decided to come out. Well, anyway, to get to the point is when I went there, I was right. The first couple of 4 bands, really nothing that special, just running the mill. Weren't bad, but, just typical, And then this one band came on. All I could say is I stopped talking, and I immediately went back to focus on the stage. And that was this guy right here. He was actually playing and singing bass in the band Hemlock at the time. And those guys at the time with that lineup really got my attention and my old singer Blake's attention. And they were like, we were talking to each other just in between. It's like, dude, after this set, we got to go up and talk to these guys because we just found somebody new to gig with because these guys are amazing. They stick out in a good way. They're original in the sense of being original, and we just loved what they did. So that our actual relationship goes as far back as that gig. So I just shared that also because it's a good point of you never know what you're going to miss unless you go out and see a show.
Right, exactly.
So you always should just check it out.
We were actually just talking about that. I'm part of Providence College's jazz ensemble, and we had a recital Friday, and it was fine, but there wasn't a whole lot of people in the crowd. And so our professor, this guy Dr. Melly, on Monday we had a rehearsal, and he was just like, "What do you think we can do to bring more people out, and why wouldn't people go out to see this live music?" And it was like this big discussion. But the answer is like if it's music that people don't know immediately, then they're probably going to be a little bit more reluctant to go out and support it because that same night there was like Providence College's a cappella groups were having a concert, and I love the a cappella groups, and I went to go see them on Sunday and they were amazing. But the thing is they're always going to bring people out instead of us because they're singing songs that people know, and we're playing obscure jazz songs that maybe you don't. So
hence why we started mixing in with our original stuff to covers.
That's what I mean.
It
yeah.
got the exposure, and then people got to hear our stuff.
Yeah, and we what was actually a good idea was we did a jazz rendition of Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper.
Nice.
And people actually commented afterwards like, "Oh, we saw Cyndi Lauper's name on the poster and we decided to go and check it out." So
That's cool.
I think we're kind of on the same track as you guys in a way. So
Nice, yeah.
but So I think that's all the time that we have tonight. So this has been Between the Notes with Motif Mag. My name is Jack Downey. Thanks again to 3 Points of Madness for joining us tonight. You guys did a great job. You were a lot of fun to talk to. And definitely check them out on all streaming services. Look out for their album Reefer Madness coming out soon. And give them a follow on social media to know when they're gigging next. Do you have any gigs coming up?
We do, this coming Saturday in New Bedford, Massachusetts at Knuckleheads Bar and Grill. And we're actually opening for our buddies Absolute Eddie, who's a great local Iron Maiden tribute band.
Cool.
So it should be killer.
Great. Well, you heard it here. You can see 3 Points of Madness in New Bedford. Knuckleheads Bar. So that's all for tonight. Thank you to R1 Karting and Trinity Beer Garden for sponsoring our podcast. Thank you to the Parlour for letting us use their space for this podcast. And thank you guys again for being here tonight. Thank you all for watching. If you want to check this out after the fact, it will be up on Facebook forever. So like and comment if you enjoyed. And it'll be on Spotify in a week or so. So give it a listen there too. Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.